Hey guys, James here from Replica Reviews, and we finally have this thing out during the hours of daylight. And if you follow our Facebook page, you would have seen there's been a few issues with filming this. Last time went swimmingly well, but unfortunately the microphone on the camera was switched off, so we got back and it's like one of those old kind of 20s French silent films. So you know, we've had to refilm it. So anyway, here we are with the Cybergun AK-47. Now, I'm quite excited to bring this gun to you. It's been one that I've been trying to do for a while. One I was trying to find for quite a while, to be fair. Thankfully, the guys of Antics in Bristol, of all places, had it, and they sent it down to the Plymouth branch, which is the closest one that we've got. And I picked this up for a bit of a bargain at 200 quid. Now, as you can see, it comes in what I call like your traditional Cybergun packaging, just polystyrene with a cardboard cover over the top. Packaging wise, inside it's probably the worst I've ever seen. It's just, I won't show you, it's yellow, it's horrible, it's probably best in the bin, to be fair. So anyway, let's cut this one out, get the gun out and do a walkthrough review. Alright, so here we have the AK out of the box. Now, a lot of you might be wondering, is this 6mm 4.5? Because obviously you don't see many guns like this, you know, the military style guns in 4.5. And shock horror, this is actually a 4.5mm BB firing air rifle. It's not a full powered air rifle, not by a long shot. You're probably looking more sort of 2-3 foot-pounds, so your pistol power territory really. It's just shaped like a rifle. Now, everything you see here in the rather distinctive AK-47 orange is wood, so your stock is fully wood, as is your grip and the front furniture as well. Now, in true AK fashion, you know, there's some wobbles here and there, and the front grip does move around a little bit, but it's an AK-47. You know, they were rustic when they came out. If they're perfect, if there's no creaks, wobbles or anything like that, you haven't got a real AK-47. Now, everything apart from the magazine is metal, so all of the top of the receiver here, charging handle, safety catch, and the barrel, and even the sling swivels as well, they're all metal, so it gives for one weighty replica. I think it weighs in about 3.5, 3.6 kilos, which from what I can remember is roughly the weight of an unloaded real steel AK-47. Now, if you actually get one of these, I mean, they're pretty hard to find. I was quite lucky that the guys in Antics in Bristol had one in stock, and they were kind enough to ship it down to us to just the store in Plymouth. About 200 quid, but if you're lucky enough to find one of these, I would definitely go, because realism cannot beat it. It's one of the best realistic air rifles I've ever come across. And that was my reason, and that was my point of view for buying this gun. Now, I wanted something that we could just hang on the wall, it would look cool, and you know, it was just something different from the usual pictures of horses and things that we've usually got on the walls. So we bought it for that reason. Now, if you're looking at buying a deactivated AK-47, you know, you're gonna have to sell some kidneys. They are quite expensive. Whereas you can buy essentially a well, it's made from various bits of parts that are AK-47 for like £200. You're saving an awful lot of money, and that was my reason for buying it. Now, it's never going to win any accuracy battles. It's never going to win, you know, the most powerful air rifle in the world contest or any of that rubbish. But as a good, solid replica for somebody that's into their replicas, you cannot go wrong with it. Features wise, apart from the magazine release catch and your safety catch, there ain't really much going on with the gun. Now, as you can hear, it's a double action trigger. Now, what that does is inside, we might cut to a clip of it in a second, it shows you there's a bar, and that pushes the back of the magazine. So in between getting attacked by horseflies, I can show you this, but it basically just hits this bar on the back. Now, in true AK fashion, you do have to hook it in and put it in place like so. So what we'll do is we'll move in, a couple of close-ups, and I'll just give you a walk around sort of the main controls of the gun. We'll give you a better look really at the gun itself. Alright guys, so this is just a quick kind of overview of the controls of the gun. Now, as I said, there isn't really much going on with it. You've got the safety catch here, which, like with a real AK-47, when it's in the upwards position, you can't bring the charging lever to the rear, so obviously you couldn't charge the gun if that made any difference, if that makes sense. This is completely non-functioning. Its only real reason to be there is one, for looks, and two, because it sounds mega when you're actually doing it. And then you slip down here, put it into what would be semi-automatic. Obviously with AKs, you've got to go through fully automatic to get to semi. You know, never really seen the logic in that, but it works, so we'll go with it. And it's just a double action trigger. And then that's pretty much it. And as I say, the charging handle, when you bring it back, is probably one of the most realistic, satisfying noises I've ever heard a replica make. Now, apart from that, the only real thing worth noting is the adjustable sight. Now it's adjustable to the point that you can elevate it and bring it back. Hopefully you can see what I mean by this. Now obviously, being an air rifle, it doesn't really serve any function at all, because if you're elevating your sights, obviously you're going to be firing way too far for the gun's ability really, and then you know, it's pointless. I think it's just one of those things that they've left on from the days when that actually was supposed to be on an AK-47, because as I say, a lot of parts were shared. I know the lower receivers, I'm pretty certain, from what were called the PM version of this, and I believe that's the reason why this particular replica was banned in America and Canada. If you watch Mike from Replica Airguns review, you'll actually, there's a video quite shortly afterwards saying that he got in quite a lot of hot water for having this, because there was concerns that it could be turned into a real steel firearm again. Now, honest opinion, it ain't happening unless you're a professional machinist, and you basically start from scratch. Over here, obviously we can't get parts for AKs and things, so it just isn't going to happen. In the States, I can't really comment because obviously I don't know what your laws are like. Now, the only thing really worth noting is this. Now, the flash hider, again completely non-functioning, is threaded. Now, I'm not quite sure why you'd want to put a silencer on one of these, because I've personally never actually seen an AK of this variety with a silencer. But, you know, it's there if you want to do it. It's an option that you've got to you. But apart from that, it just is a really, really good looking replica. So what we'll do is we'll just move in, we'll move off the tripod, you know, so it's going to be a little bit shaky possibly, and we'll do some freehand, and I'll just give you a quick walk around, one, how to take the gun apart, and then also just how the trigger mechanism works, so you can get an understanding on why this gun, one, won't function without the magazine in it, and two, why you can't convert it and do all the funny things. You know, the amount of times I get asked if I can convert it to full auto, no, and we'll go in and we'll show you exactly why now. Alright guys, so welcome to the shaky bit of the review, and what we're going to do is just show you the inner workings of this gun. Now, first thing I'm going to do is just put the lever out the way there. Now, you don't really need to do it, I just do it for personal preference. And secondly, what you're going to do is just push this little button in, and what that does is just lift the top of the receiver off. Now, what I'll do is put that in my giant pocket out the way so we're not going to lose it. Obviously here, what we've got is pretty much what you'd find in an AK really, apart from all the trigger group, but we'll go into that in a second. So you've got your recoil spring here. To do this, you basically just pop it forward like so, lift it out the way, we'll tuck that in the other pocket, and then your charging handle and what would be gas rod and all the rest of that rubbish comes out like so. Again, you can unscrew this, you know, it's nothing special, so we'll move that out the way. Now, for the purposes of just showing you how the gun works, obviously I said I would, is basically it's connected, this little block here is connected to the top of the trigger. Hopefully this is coming out for you, and then this rod here, when I pull the trigger, as you can see, it smooths this lever here, which hits the valve, which is just tucked underneath this section here. So that's pretty much all there is to the gun. So it's so basic, there's nothing really. If I take the magazine out, there is not really much in here at all, to be completely honest with you. Seal here for the barrel, as you can see, that's where your BBs go in. The magazine sits flush up against this to try and create the best seal that it can, but to be honest, there's a lot of CO2 wastage. You often see a lot coming around the side, and also you know, it's quite inaccurate. It's just a smooth bore barrel. So what we'll do is, if I can find all the parts, we shall reassemble it. So the first thing you want to do is, there's a hole just in the top here, and that's where the rod is going to get inserted. And then it just goes forward. Now you've got two little rails here, you can just see there, and that's what the bolt moves across. Next thing we're going to do is hunt the recoil spring down. Now the spring goes inside that little hole there, and at the back you just push it forward, and it sits nice and flush in these lugs here. Now this is the button that you may recognise that we actually took the top of the receiver off in the first place. And then last but not least, the receiver. So that just fits underneath this little ledge here. You can see there's a little gap just in there, hopefully, and what you do is you just insert the front of the receiver in there, make sure it's all lined up in roughly the right place, and just give it a quick squeeze, he says, and hopefully, if it's not a pain, it should just pop back into place like so, and then you can charge it, make sure it's working, and obviously it makes a pretty good noise, and then we'll put it back on safe, and yeah, we'll just finish up with a conclusion and final thought. Alright guys, so that pretty much sums up our review. Now, there's two different ways that you should look at this review really, and this gun. Now the first is as, you know, an air gun that you can shoot. And in my views, it's not the best in the world. It will hit targets, it will hit cans, you know, you can have a good amount of fun with it. But please don't buy it thinking I'm going to get 5mm groupings, because obviously a smoothbore barrel and ball bearings, you're never going to get tight groupings. And as I say, it's accurate enough just to hit cans and bits and pieces like that, but that's about it. Now the second point of view, which is the one that I think everybody should look at this gun at really, is as a replica. Alright, so something that's not necessarily going to get fired much, but as a solid replica, something that's realistic. And you cannot beat this gun. It blows the Makarov out the water in my opinion, and to be honest, I'm a bit of a Makarov fan and I absolutely love my Russian guns, so that was quite a bold statement. If you want a DIAC to put on the wall, buy one of these, because as I said earlier, they're so much cheaper and it's just as realistic. And unlike the new versions of the DIACs, you can actually charge it and actually use it, whereas a lot of them these days are coming out all welded up, etc. Now, construction wise, I think Cybergun have hit the nail on the head. It's superb, and for that reason, if you can find one, I highly recommend that you get one. Would I buy it again? Probably not. It's a lot of money to have invested in something that we don't use very much. This is the first time the gun has been out since the last time we tried filming a review, and that was the first time it had been out since the time we tried filming the review before that. Long story, I'm not going to go into it. So it's one that doesn't really get used much, but it's something that I can sit on the wall, or this one actually lives on the shelf at the moment, just next to the locker. It is superb and I cannot recommend it enough. So thank you very much for watching another one of our videos. Feel free to go to our Facebook page to check out more pictures. I've got a full album. As you can tell, I'm probably trying to rush because there's a train going past. And I'm stood with an AK-47. Yeah, anyway. Thanks for watching guys, and I'll see you on our next video.